Welcome to What We Made Possible, the podcast where we explore the power of healing and driving change for advocates, leaders, and change makers. The conversations here draw the connection between creating new possibilities in the world, possibilities of care, of belonging, of thriving for our communities, with stories of personal healing and loving relationship building. I am your host, Patty Dayleg, leadership coach for social change. I spent a decade in nonprofits, government, and DEI, securing 6- and 7-figure opportunities for communities of color. And I've experienced firsthand the transformative power of compassion, healing, and belonging in making a bigger impact. Let's dive in. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to What We Made Possible. Today, we have with us the amazing Carey Peters, who is a mentor and teacher of mine, one of the people who taught me how to be a coach. And I am so excited to have her here. Welcome, Carey.
Thank you. I'm getting choked up already. Just thinking about you, thinking about what an incredible coach you are, what a beautiful person you are, what a beautiful soul. And the fact that I get to interact with you and our paths crossed, I just feel really lucky. Yeah.
That
I'm
luck is
touched.
so jewel. I want to tell the people who you are. So if it's okay, I'm going to
Tell
read
the
your
people.
bio.
Tell the people. The people need to know.
They really do. Okay, I'm going to tell the people that Carey Peters has founded or co-founded 6 businesses, exited and played a key role in taking them from startup to revenues totaling over $220 million, including Holistic MBA and the Health Coach Institute, which have trained 40,000 plus health and life coaches in over 100 countries. That's like a small town.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. Carey and Stacey Morgenstern created Health Coach Institute's Become a Health and Life Coach program, an ICF CCE accredited dual health and life coach certificate training, which teaches students Health Coach Institute's proprietary habit change coaching skills and how to use those skills to create lucrative coaching businesses. Carey has also guest starred in 25 episodes of the Yahoo web series Reluctantly Healthy, hosted by actress Judy Greer, and has been featured in Forbes magazine, New York magazine, Fitness magazine, the Chicago Tribune, the Huffington Post, and more. Currently based in Chicago, Carey holds a BFA in acting from DePaul University. She lives with her husband and beautiful 9-year-old daughter, 9 years old already. Outside of work, Carey enjoys theater, music, art, and stand-up comedy. Yay!
I'm just listening to that going oh, wow.
Whoa, who's that?
Who's that? What? She seems cool.
The reason why I wanted to have you on is because I think I started my BLC journey in 2017. So 8 years ago now. Did mastery in 2021. And then I was in your mastermind in, was it 2023?
Might have been. Yeah.
Yeah. And I want people to hear and witness the magical people who have been so instrumental in what's been possible for me. I remember when we were working together, the metaphor that I had was that I felt like this little race car, those toy race cars that you pull back and then it kind of just zooms up. And that to me is all possible because of the work that you have created in the world.
Well, I think you are giving me way too much credit. I appreciate that. However, you are the one that did the work. You are the one that faced whatever fears came up when you decided to take this path of coaching. You are the one who put yourself out into the world and took the time to dedicate to become an outstanding coach and then put yourself out in the world to help other people. I mean, you did it all. And I hope you feel happy and proud with everything that you've accomplished.
Yeah. I really appreciate that. I honestly, that is it's so fun to be a coach because you get to just kind of hold space and witness people
Totally.
for the transformations that they create for themselves. And, you know, there's power in that space holding. There's a question that I want to ask, which is, what is in your everyday reality now that a younger version of you didn't even know was possible?
I mean, just read my bio again. It's like literally everything you listed was something I never thought would have been possible. Never in a million years. Never believed I could have ever in a million years built a business, let alone 6. Never would have believed I could have sold something. Never, like businesses, like what? I have a BFA in acting. Like I've never taken a business class, officially. I don't have an MBA. I don't have any like traditional business education. I never thought I would have any kind of financial foundation that I created for myself. Like I, was an actor for so many years and kind of barely scraping by and just never thought to me, I was like, I am dedicating my life to art and I'm praying that art can dedicate itself to me and like I can make a living as an artist. What I didn't know was that my art was going to not be a musical or a Shakespeare or Chekhov. It was going to be coaching is a different script. And I never would have believed that ever. I never believed I would have been a parent. I just didn't think I was capable of any of these things. I didn't have a belief system that said, you can do that. My belief system told me you can pursue what you love, which I went after 2 careers that were the odds of success were in acting in particular, quite slim, but I went for it anyway. But beyond that, I didn't believe I had the ability to do just about anything that I've actually done.
How do you get from not believing to actually doing?
Coaching, I swear to God. It was coaching. I really never had, well, acting, the reason I was able to go after that was because I had a parent who was entrepreneurial and who told me, both my parents told me, you go do whatever you want. You could do anything you want and you should go do what you want. One of my parents was a little more nervous about me becoming an actor. The other one was like super gung-ho, you need to do it. And I think if my parents hadn't been so supportive, I don't know if I would have had the courage, but they really did support me in that career. And so I went for it. And when I became like a working actor, it was enough work that I was like, yeah, I think I'm good at this. Like, I think I can do it. The coaching, I was coached. I actually remember I was like, I have gotten an initial certification as a coach. I was struggling with the business aspect of it. I was struggling with the coaching piece of it because I actually didn't know that the school that I went to initially, I never learned to coach actually. I became a certified coach with no idea how to coach, which really sucked. And I was like, okay, right? And looking at this program, I had a colleague recommend this program to help coaches build a business and learn to coach better. And I'm looking at it, thinking, maybe I should do that. And I talked to the people who were running the program about doing it, but it was an in-person training and it was this specific 5-day period and you had to be there. There was no way you couldn't. But I was in a play at the time. And the play had the potential to be extended, which means that it would just go longer than the original run dates. And I told the person who was a coach, I said, oh, but my show might be extended. And the coach said to me, well, do you need to do the extension? And it was like he had hit me in the head with a frat. I was like, what? Because as an actor, like you don't miss the extension. That's like letting your understudy go on. You don't do that. You have to be like 1 foot in the grave to miss any performance, ever. Right. And so it was this coach that reflected to me like, you have a choice, which in my mind, I did not believe I had that was not a choice. Do you know what I mean? But he presented as like, you could choose if you want to do the extension or not. Honestly, that blew my mind. It sounds really simple, but it wasn't. If for people who are listening who are, who are artists of any kind or into sports or whatever, you dedicate your entire life to this pursuit. Like nothing comes before your art, right? So to have that all of a sudden turned into a choice of like, I could walk away from this extension. That question changed my life because I was like, I think I am going to go. I'm going to go to this training. I am going to learn how to make a business out of this coaching thing. And I am not going to do this extension. Now, turned out the play was not extended, so I didn't have to betray my artist self. I got to, I got lucky, but it just, yeah, it was, and that was like not the first time that a coaching question had changed my life, and certainly not the last time, but it really was coaching that opened my mind up to way more possibilities than I ever thought I had, ever. Yeah.
There's something about like not knowing that you have a choice and our old kind of programming just kind of dictating what that is. And in a sense, in this instance, it was that was your priority in the moment. And so it wasn't even a question. But then when the question gets introduced and the choice like comes to you, it opens up so much.
Totally. And the interesting thing is that was a sales conversation, right? So on the one hand that he was having with me, he's selling me on doing this training, right? So on the one hand, you can go, well, he's just pushing you to enroll. You know what I mean? Which maybe, but on the other hand, what he was doing was showing me I had power where I didn't think I had power. And even if I had not joined that coach training, that question still would have changed me. Because I think as an actor, I like believed in or bought into disempowerment versus empowerment. As hard as I hustled, as hard as I worked, there was a part of me that was like, I don't have any control. Somebody's going to choose me or not choose me. You know what I mean? Versus like, hey, what happens if you choose you? You know what I mean? And that was a gift that he gave me that day.
Yeah, that happens so much with the folks that I work with around feeling like you're holding your breath, waiting for someone to choose you, whether it is you're applying for a grant and you're waiting to see if that funding comes through, or you are doing outreach and your success depends on someone saying yes to you. And I think it's just so powerful now to like in that moment, right, to center yourself.
Right.
I'm also curious because you've always been transparent about your own healing journey. You've talked a lot publicly about body image, about postpartum depression, and that is, I think, one of the, at least for me, it's one of the things that like really kept me in your world, because the way that you lead is through this vulnerability. It's like when you're sharing your challenges and what they look like for you, you're opening a possibility for other people to recognize that within themselves as well. I'm curious how you think about just like your own healing and how that influences your work and really like the transformations that you foster, you facilitate.
This is a great question. No one has ever asked me this question before. So I just want to highlight that for you and appreciate what a thoughtful question that is. First of all, it is important, I think, that people know that the people that you follow or teachers or gurus or whatever are super fucked up, right? Everyone, it seems so like that can't be true. They have everything together. Look at their this, look at their that, look at what they've accomplished. The reason why somebody goes into coaching or somebody goes into some kind of like personal brand business or whatever is because they have so many personal challenges. They're trying to find answers for themselves. That's what brings so many people into coaching or therapy, for example, or any kind of helping profession, right? Nutrition, someone goes into that because they struggled with a digestive issue themselves, right? There's usually that at play. So first, it's really important to like I never like the guru stance, because in that stance, even though it's sort of like personality branding and celebrity branding kind of sets you up for that, but the reality is, in my mind, it feels like, oh no, I'm a guru and you're down here and I'm teaching you. And I reject that wholeheartedly. Like that is not what's happening. In fact, the people in your audience are your teachers. You're learning from them, right? And you're the same. It's just that on this particular skill, I may happen to have a few more years on somebody, but there's no difference between us, right? And there's no like, I have gone to the mountaintop and healed myself. I just happen to have a whole lot of challenges, and maybe I'm a few steps ahead in a growth journey that I can share with you. And one of my mentors who I love dearly, her name is Colette Barron Reed. And she said to me once, I was kind of bemoaning to her. I'm like, why is every area of my life a challenge? And I was like sad about that and feeling like, what's the deal? And she said, well, you're meant to have a big life. That means you're going to have big challenges. And I was like, okay. Okay. And she's also the person that modeled to me that kind of like radical transparency and vulnerability. I would be in her audience listening to her tell stories about super personal, challenging things in her life. And I was stunned the first time I heard her talk about some of this stuff. And I was like, wait, you can say that in front of people? Like, you can talk about gang rape in front of people? Like, it never, like, to have something so open and so honest, I just had not encountered that before. I had encountered a lot of great teachers, but they were more, I guess, I don't know if it was guarded, or they just didn't bring their personal life as forward quite as much, or they weren't quite as open. And so when I saw her and I experienced the impact of that as an audience member, it just like unlocked something in my brain about, yeah, this is why not? Why not just talk about like the realest real thing? And that became super exciting for me and really frustrating if I couldn't do that. Do you know what I mean? It's like, if I have to hold back, and there are definitely times, when you're the leader of a business or a leader of a team, you can't say whatever, whenever, you do have to sometimes be measured about what you're saying. But I find the times that I enjoy most in terms of connection with an audience is when I can be the most open, the most honest. And that comes from an acting background too, because when you're doing a play and you are there with the audience, to me, it's a sacred moment where you are like in communion together energetically. And your job as the actor is to channel the story being told through that character. And I guess I feel in some ways that it's similar in this work, where all the world's a stage, the men are merely players. My role here in this moment, I don't know how I got here standing in front of 900 people or however many thousands of people, but I was put here for a reason. And how can I lock into something that is like the most honest and connecting thing that we can experience together in this moment? And that's kind of how I think about it. I thought about that too, that way, when creating Become a Health and Life Coach. Well, you're recording all the videos by yourself, right? But in my mind, I was not I was thinking of the student there in front of me listening. I was thinking of the communion of the like heart to heart connection, the thing that I could share that would be the most, and to me, that is like why I do this kind of work anyway. It's that connection and communion about something that's real that to me is what makes it all worthwhile.
Yeah. That heart connection is so, it makes sense to me, having been your student, right? Like having been that person kind of like listening to the recordings and being in the audience when you're on stage, that is your intention when you are speaking. I'm curious. So you're like on the stage and the thing is about to come out, like this thing that you are wanting to share. What's going through your mind?
Well, it depends on the setting. If I'm in front of a group of 900 people in a 3-day live event that is selling something, I mean, like, this is super real talk.
Yeah.
If you're cool with that. every inch of that 3-day live event is engineered to optimize conversion for that sale. And I just want to be 100% straight up. That's not bad, because if you believe that your product is going to change someone's life, well, or your service, then yeah, I'm going to do everything I'm going to say is about. That being said, I always felt like, for example, in a 3-day sales event, if it's not right for somebody to move forward into this program, fine. So on the one hand, I'm super attached, like people are going to say yes. On the other hand, I'm totally detached. And I'm thinking, people are going to say yes to themselves in some way, shape, or form. I don't care if it's with us. I don't care if it's with something else, but they're going to walk away having had some kind of opening, some kind of transformative experience that shifts the trajectory of the rest of their days. And I am 1,000% committed to that, because they took the time to get on a plane, to buy a ticket, to be in this room, right? And so I am going to go 1,000% for every single person there. If it's not a sales event, I mean, I'm doing that anyway. I'm going to be, if I'm on Zoom, if I'm anywhere, my feeling is, and my prayer is always, please let me do whatever needs to happen here for the people that have come to get the thing that they've been seeking. Mm-hmm. This sounds silly, but it really is very spiritual and kind of religious to me. I'm not a religious person, but I definitely feel that there is a greater something at work. And I just pray to be the best possible, vehicle in that moment, I guess, if I'm the one speaking. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. There's on the one hand, obviously the preparation, right? Like you mentioned, it's an engineering of the moment. And at the same time, a surrender is the word that wants to come to me.
Right. You nailed it. Yes. Yes. It's an interesting deck, but only in an event where you are making an invitation, whether that's in person or on Zoom, where you do have that funny dichotomy where there is a control of what's happening that's more likely to lead you to a higher conversion, and also a complete surrender to whatever's supposed to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, that transparency about your kind of the challenges that you experienced weren't just shared on stages and in sales calls, right?
No. No, they're everywhere. Everywhere. In fact, sometimes I would share more with my audiences sometimes than my own family and friends. And it would almost sometimes be embarrassing if I would see a friend or a family member later and they'd be like, I watched your so-and-so. And I was like, what? You did? Oh my God. I don't know how to address this topic with you, but maybe we will. Yeah. So no, it's not just in the service of sales, but there is a reality. If you have listeners who are in business, where if you have a business, the business needs to make money, right? So there has to be, right? But it's more like a personal, come from, where I just value, how can we have a real heart-to-heart connection if I can't really open my heart and connect to yours, no matter what's happening, whether there's a sale happening or not. Mm-hmm. And it is a big challenge of my life is being able to do that better for hundreds and thousands of people than maybe for one or two or three. Do you know what I mean? It's almost, as a performer, it's it's easier to do for the masses than it has been in my personal life. Oops.
I've been there for sure. Right? Oh yeah, by the way, you might hear this. I've said this publicly.
Right. Prepare yourself.
I mean, I really want to stay on this because there's this ripple that happens when your mentor, right, was able to share about her experiences, and it gave you permission to share about your experiences. But for folks who are like not able to quite get there, what do you think that person might need?
Well, in what context? Like in a business context, in a
I'm
personal?
thinking a lot of the folks that I work with are trying to create impact in the world, very often in the nonprofit sector. And many of them are coming into this work because of a desire to be of service, a desire to give to community, a desire to be connected to community. But then there's some weird thing that like gets in the way of really showing up. And folks have called it imposter syndrome, folks call it, whatever they call it. What have you seen in your students?
Well, imposter syndrome is like feeling like the thing that's true in this moment is somehow not enough,
Mhm.
right? So, like a new coach, for example, I can't say what's true. I can't say I'm new because that's not enough. It's like somebody's going to discount that, reject that, not take it seriously, whatever. Instead of going, well, I'm new. And actually, I'm so passionate. It's crazy. I'm like a puppy. I'm going to help you. Let's change your life. You know, like, and passion is contagious. So you can flip that, but our brains go to like, if we are sensing danger, we're going to go to the negative. Like we're going to go to protection mode. So we're going to decide preemptively that the thing that's true right now is not good enough so that we can protect ourselves from rejection, whatever.
Mm.
So I think when it comes down to it, how do you like get over something like imposter syndrome is just going, well, what is the truest thing right now? And what might be valuable about that?
Yeah. There's a tremendous like presence, right? Of like what I love that question. What is true right now? Mm.
If I don't have to make myself or the situation something other than it is, what then?
Hmm. Yeah. Can we talk a little bit about transition
Yeah, I
and
know we may not have
presence?
all that much time, so we gotta get it all in. Are you kidding? I could talk for hours.
Well, we're in a moment right now of, speaking to like what's true in this moment. We're in a moment right now of just tremendous change in the world, and we are all having to just deal with it in real time. You've been through a ton of transitions
Yeah.
over the last decade, right? Around co-founding, exiting businesses, having a kid, new programs, kind of closing program, all of these things. And you know a little bit about what that is, what that looks like, right? So when you are in transition and there's kind of a new version of you that's trying to exist, how do you know that you're still you?
This is such an interesting question, Patty.
I think I got it from you.
Oh my gosh. No, did you?
I'm pretty sure that
I
there
don't
was
think so.
like the how
Really?
do you know you're still you? Yeah.
Oh, well, I was going to say, I don't know. I think that's your brainchild. Well, especially right now. I mean, the world is changing so fast. There's so many things happening at all times. I feel like, I mean, since COVID, it's been like a slip and slide of, and even before then, it's not like things were so easy. You know, before that happened, everybody was still dealing with a ton of stress, etc. I think if I, how do you know you're still you? I mean, I think that sometimes we have to just expand our definition of what that is. I think that's where coaching comes in really handily because for most of my life, I am an actress. That's who I am. That's what I do. It's my identity. It's everything. And that was great because I got to like be a working actress, which is rare, but it's not great because it limited me from a whole bunch of other things. And so when coaches started to help me see possibilities of other things I could be or other ways I could express myself, that was amazing. And then they were there to support me as I went through the transitions. Because it's one thing to go, oh, I can be something new. And then it's another to go do that. And all the things that come up, you know what I mean? I'm sure in your life you've experienced this of like, I'm going to become a coach, but then it's a different thing to go do it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And it brings up a whole host of stuff.
Yeah, I think I coached for 6 or 7 years before I was like, no, I have a coaching business.
And boy, did you, right out the gate. Boom. But that was like, I think if we can open up to the fact that, like, I think about this for myself today, we don't even know what there's so many more possibilities than I can imagine, that I can think of. And this goes to like I say, I'm not religious, but I do have a strong faith and a strong belief that I'm being led somewhere, and that they say, like, God has plans that are bigger for you than you can see for yourself. So there's a certain level of faith that I'm being led somewhere. And then I always have coaches. I always have mentors. I work with a therapist when I need to. I like to have a group of people around me so that in the inevitable times that are really messy, when I'm not sure who I am anymore, after selling a business, I can't tell you the level of grief I experienced. After we sold Holistic MBA, Stacy and I, in 2015, and we're creating Health Coach Institute, and you think like that's going to be the exciting thing. I'm thinking about the new thing. Actually, I was like devastated about not like letting go of that old identity. I was not the CEO anymore. We were not the two of us anymore. It's not going to be the same team anymore. It was all going to change. And in fact, people, like, there were going to be more people seeing like my work than ever in my life. Like, this all was very weird and hard. And I think the way I got through it again was faith, it was coaches, and it was community. And I don't know that I could have gotten through it any other way, quite frankly.
Yeah, there is such a grief in that. And I was telling you before we started recording that there's folks who I get to coach who are thinking about succession and how is this thing that I'm creating bigger. It's already bigger than them as an individual and kind of the vision that they had for it. And that's amazing. And also the grief of letting go of that identity of being like the person that created the thing.
Absolutely. And who am I now? If I let go of this has defined me. It takes such an enormous amount of energy to create something from nothing. And it takes so much will and determination. And you are like in that identity, right? And if it's successful, you're like, wow, I mean, it worked, right? So then to go and release that person you were, that thing that worked for that time that it worked, it's really hard, especially when you don't quite know, well, who am I going to be next? And do I want to be that? Can I be that? Am I capable of being that new thing? I think it's something that when you think about selling a business, or you think about moving up in the ranks of your organization or whatever, we don't really talk about the grief that comes with the identity shifting and how difficult that can be. And they often say, like, founders are the number one bottleneck in their business because they can't let go. And everybody else is struggling, like, oh, I got let go, you know what I mean? And the founder's like,
job.
Yeah, the founder's like, but I can't. I need an identity. You know what I mean? So it creates a whole host of issues. And so for the organization to grow, that founder has to be willing to evolve into a new identity and shed the old skin. And it's just easier said than done. That's why you just need support. That's why companies need you. Nonprofits need you, Patty, to help them through that.
Yeah, because it's more than one thing, right? There's the transition itself, and then there's all of the people and the feelings and
it's loaded.
Everyone's individual experiences around it.
Loaded for everybody, not just the founder.
Yeah. And then there's the other side of the transition, right? Which is like that newness, this new thing that when you sold your business, right? You're still in relationship to it in a different way. And there's like a new thing that gets to be created. And you sent an email recently about moving through the artist's way.
Oh, I love it. Love the artist's way.
I'm moving through it too. I'm on week 3, I think, of the 12.
Ooh.
I'm curious what what do you see emerging for you?
Well, I think I'm on week 7. No, I'm sorry, week 9 I'm starting. And what's emerging is just I feel like every chapter is a reminder to go back to source, whatever that is. The universe, spirit, God. Sometimes I call it the playwright because, being a theater actor, that resonates for me. Like remembering that source, the playwright, has all the jobs, has all the money, has all the opportunities, has all the possibilities, has all the houses, has everything I could ever want ever. And that my job is to open up. And that treating my artist with honor and respect and giving my inner artist time, understanding this is my number one most valuable skill, my creativity. The way I bring value to the world is through this. So doing artist pages, doing the artist date is a reminder your artist matters. And there's a whole lot of people in the world that may not reinforce that message, but her book does. And it empowers you to be the one to go, you know what? My artist does matter. I am going on that date that seems completely frivolous, stupid. I'm not productive during these, hour, 2 hour, whatever I'm doing. To sit and write in the artist pages every day where I'm literally going, I don't know what to write. I'm looking out my window, there are leaves.
They're green.
I don't know. How much longer do I have to write this? But that's okay. To me, it's like a dedication, like a sacred dedication to the thing inside that is so special, that deserves that. And that when you do that, I feel like there's who knows how the world works? I don't know. I have no answers, but it feels to me like there is a deeper connection to the magic that is in the world that I want to connect to and express in whatever way it wants me to,
Yeah. Yeah. Tapping in, and that the word vessel is coming to me again.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then thinking about how that connects to being in front of a student or an audience and creating that heart connection. It only gets created if you are able to tap in.
Right.
So there's something really special about being able to cultivate that specialness within you.
Yeah.
And having the support to be able to do it.
Yeah, Julia Cameron. How many people has she influenced through that book? God bless her. It is spectacular. Every chapter is highlighted, and then I'm writing emails to my list about here's what she says about jealousy. This is so good, And I'm like, what? And actually, I was brought back to that book after watching the Grammys this with my daughter, and we watched someone who was up for Artist of the Year, Doechii, who was mind-blowing. Yeah. Mind-blowing. Just my jaw was on the floor. Who is this person? I had never heard of her before. So I start going down the rabbit hole, listening to her music and listening to an interview with her. And she was talking about a time when she had just been burnt out and just at a loss, and said she started doing the artist way. And I was like, I have that. I had it from years ago. And so I'm like, I am picking up that book. So I owe it all to Doechii for coming back to the artist way and really diving in. I really and truly believe that connection is going to form whatever my next, important work is going to come from that.
Yeah,
for sure.
That is, I'm so glad you shared, because your email, I think there's 4 or 5 people in my universe right now who have said, I'm moving through the artist way. You were one of them. And I was like, you know what? I have to check this out. I have to do this. And it's so interesting because I have been now just all of these ideas are coming. I'm like, I should write a book. I should I should go take Pilates. I should go.
Right? And then when you're in Pilates, you can curse Julia Cameron for how much pain, how much pain your abs are in.
But then my booty looks good, and I'm like, oh, thank you, Julia Cameron.
Exactly. Exactly.
Is there anything else that we didn't get to chat about that feels on your heart to share?
I thank you so much. I just look at the time going, oh my gosh, this went so fast. I guess, I would just, first of all, say thank you so much for having me. I really do feel, you know, something sounds very silly, but when you're the head of something, you're always the loneliest and the least seen. And you know this from your work with nonprofits, because when you're working with the top executives or whatever, the leader is like out on the leading edge and has to be the leader. And so I just want to appreciate you because you see so beautifully. You're such a beautiful witness to people, including me. I really feel like this has been just like a chat with a great friend. And I just want to thank you for that and for the work that you're doing.
Thank you, Carey.
You're
Honestly,
welcome.
just being a student of yours and being just like in your world, it is, I forget who, I was listening to, I think it was Carey Morin and Lisa's podcast that you
Yes.
did maybe 2 years ago. And
Yes.
they said something along the lines of that you help others to like be their best selves. And I think that is just the magic that you bring, is that yes, I get to do the work that I do in the world, but I don't do it with the skill and the witnessing that I have if it wasn't for you. So thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for taking the time out to chat with me.
My pleasure, my joy. Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, we will see you all next time. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for listening to What We Made Possible. I really hope this episode resonated. As a coach, I always end with action steps, and so I invite you to do something, which is to pause and ask yourself, what resonated? What am I taking away? And what's possible for me and my community now? If you liked this conversation, please leave a review and a rating. It helps so much. Thanks again.